Hello and welcome to one of two videos doing reviews this week. On Thursday I will be going through the new Exploring Eberron book, and I can tell you that ahead of time because D&D Beyond was kind enough to give us a release schedule of sorts, which is honestly really helpful for what I do on this channel, but it's generally just good. It's a good practice anyway, right? Today, however, I'm not going over something on D&D Beyond. I'm going over the subclasses included in the broadsheet that comes when you are part of the Mystic Arts Patreon. Mystic Arts, as many of you probably know, is run by Dadi and his girlfriend AB, and it's been a fountain of wonderful DM advice ever since the first video hit, which was I think less than a year ago, but I could be wrong. Anyway, he was kind enough to send me access to the subclasses included, the Atroxian subclasses. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not. There are 4 of these, so I thought we'd go through them. I need a good warm-up before we get into the chaos of the next few months. And also, I really like these. I had a little sneak peek earlier, just because I wanted a little look ahead at what it was I would be looking at, and so I can figure out some rules, interactions, and stuff as well. So, let's get to it. First things first, we have the incredible artwork here. The artwork is done by one of Dadi's group. You get a list of not just the credits, but also the specifics and who makes up the Mystic Arts team, which is really cool. It's, I've almost definitely butchered that. I am really sorry. Your art's very good, though. Sorry about the terrible pronunciation on my end. Anyway, this little booklet contains 4 subclasses. We've got the Archaeologist Ranger, the Collegiate Wizard, the Fundamental Sorcerer, and the Mage Hunter Fighter. These are all pretty substantially influenced by very different things. The Archaeologist Ranger, I think, being the most obvious of the bunch. Let's get to it. The Archaeologist Ranger reads, "You're a two-fisted pulp hero with a knack for understanding the world of ages past. When trouble inevitably comes knocking, you'll knock them back and ensure artifacts end up in a museum where they belong." This is an indie publication. Wink. That's a bad joke. Anyway, at level 3, you get 3 features. You get Scrappy Tactics, which allows you to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. Also allows you to grapple creatures with greater success when Hunter's Mark is on the creature, and when you cast Hunter's Mark, you gain temp health equal to 1d10 plus your ranger level. I like all 3 of these. I do think that the studious scrapper? My brain's glitching real hard today. The ability to make a creature roll 1d6 and take it away from their chance to avoid grappling is good at level 3, but if you're going to be playing this subclass, it does feel fairly unarmed focused, which means the grappler is a very good feat for it, is the only thing I would say, which foregoes the need to do that because you can do grapple and hit at the same time, if I recall. I could be wrong. Actually, I'm pretty sure I am wrong, and that my group uses different grappling rules, so that's fun. Anyway, you also get your Archaeologist spells list. You get Identify at level 3, Knock at level 5, Tongues at level 9, Death Ward at level 13, and Legend Lore at level 17. This isn't a combat-focused spell list in the slightest, but it is a useful one, I think. Legend Lore is a classic for any DM. DMs love Legend Lore, so it's good stuff. Also, at level 3, you get Eye for Treasure, which allows you to cast the Identify spell as an action without expending a spell slot, a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier, and you gain all uses on a long rest. As part of this action, if you identify a magic item which requires attunement, you can attune to it then and there, which is really cool. I like that a lot, but you can only do that bit of it once per long rest. I like that an awful lot, because if you can identify the item, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to attune to it straight away, and it fits the flavour really well. Level 7, you get Darken Decum. When a creature hits you with an attack, you can take a reaction to increase your AC against that attack by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus, potentially causing it to miss. If you have a creature grappled when you take this reaction, the bonus to your AC instead lasts until the start of your next turn, or until you are no longer grappling the creature. While this bonus is active, each time another creature misses you with an attack, the grappled creature takes damage equal to that. The grappled creature takes damage of that attack's type equal to your proficiency bonus. So you're basically putting them in front of it. And along with that, if they're marked by your Hunter's Mark, the creature takes an additional 1d6. This is super fun. It fits the brawler archetype and the Pulp Fiction hero so perfectly. And I love it. I think that's such a well-designed feature. At level 11, you get Superior Scrapper. When you use your Scrappy Tactics feature, which is the one we just talked about. No, level 11 is Superior Scrapper, which reads, when you use your Scrappy Tactics feature to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, you can instead make 2, which is cool. You can place one of these unarmed strikes with the casting of Hunter's Mark, or with moving your Hunter's Mark to a new creature if you previously reduced the current target to 0 hit points. That's fun. It's a lot of fun. It also helps a lot with the bonus action pile up that Rangers get. I've talked before about how I homebrew the fixes to Rangers, but this kind of helps get around that quite a lot. And finally, at level 15, you gain the following features. When you use either of them, your Hunter's Mark ends. So when you hit a creature marked with your Hunter's Mark with an attack, you can turn it into a crit instead. That's sick. And when a creature marked with your Hunter's Mark hits you with an attack, you can take a reaction to cause the attack to miss instead, then make an unarmed strike against the attacking creature if it's within your reach. That's really cool as well. I was, before I did my little bit of research, because I haven't played a Ranger much. I've played a Ranger, but it's been a while. I was going to state that it's a shame that there's no automatic boost to your unarmed strikes, but Rangers get fighting styles at level 2. You can take the unarmed fighting style from that, which boosts it up to a 1d8 if you're not using a shield, which is more than enough to make this pretty competitive in terms of damage. It is still a bit mad with your identify feature being tied to your wisdom, but the AC boost is tied to proficiency bonus, which is my favourite way to make things scale in uses as the game goes on. I don't understand why wizards don't do it more often. And the ability to do the attacks as a bonus action as well, it really helps because it means you could theoretically have a sword as your main action. You could be a great sword fighter with this version of a ranger if you wanted to, because you could go all in on strength, and that would be a lot of fun to be a strength-based ranger for a change. I think it's great. Very, very cool. I also, again, the artwork is fantastic. It really is. Next is the Collegiate Wizard. Like presidents, chancellors, judges, and anyone else who matters in the affairs of state, you were educated at Archaeologist University, the nation's greatest and highest institution for learning. There you were taught how to cast spells and how to lead commoners. I don't know what the reference to this one is. I feel like I should, but I don't. Anyway, it's a wizard, and more importantly, it's not just a wizard spell school subclass, and I've mentioned this lots of times as well. I loathe that version of subclass for wizards. I think it's really boring, and I want to be inspired. So let's see if this is inspiring, shall we? Level 3, Agents of the Arcane. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can use Calligrapher's Supplies to create one or more writs of appointment. You can have a number of writs equal to your proficiency bonus at one time. If creating a writ would cause you to exceed that number, you must choose an older one to be destroyed. This seems to have two effects. A writ of appointment has no effect until it's signed by a willing creature other than you. Once a creature signs the writ, they become your agent while they carry it on their person, and while an agent is on the same plane of existence as you, you always know their distance and direction from you, whether they are affected by conditions, are below the hit point maximum, or are at 0 hit points. That's fun. And when you cast a wizard spell with a range of touch, one of your agents can deliver the touch. The agent must be on the same plane of existence to you, and it must take a reaction to deliver the touch spell when you cast the spell. You can use this a number of times equal to your int mod and regain all uses in a long rest. The idea of being in Chult or something to use D&D locations and having someone in Neverwinter do a shocking touch is incredibly funny, and I am here for it. It fits nicely with the first part of it. I don't know how often you're going to be doing that kind of nonsense in a campaign realistically. I think it's fun though. It's also nice because theoretically, obviously, you could use a Cure Wounds, for example, if you had Cure Wounds with this, which is cool. You also get Honours Graduate, spelt without a U. Dadi, what are you doing? Disgraceful. It's American English. In Iceland, why are you bowing to American English? Choose one skill in which you have the proficiency but lack expertise. You gain expertise. You also gain proficiency with Calligrapher's Supplies. Calligrapher's Surprise sounds like a birthday cake. If you already have this tool proficiency, you gain proficiency with another type of artisan tools of your choice. That's cool. It helps with the first bit, but it's mostly a ribbon feature. Level 6. Codified Spellcraft. When you have Calligrapher's Supplies and your spellbook in hand, you can spend some time creating a codified spell scroll. Pick a spell from your spellbook that meets the following criteria. It has a range other than self, it does not require an attack roll or save, it does not consume a material component, and it does not require concentration. The time it takes to create the scroll is equal to its casting time plus 10 minutes. Once the codified spell scroll has been created, you or any of your agents can cast the spell inscribed on it as an action, destroying the scroll lasts until it's used, but you can only have a number of codified scrolls equal to your proficiency bonus. If creating a new one would cause you to exceed it, you have to destroy an old one. That's really fun. It has to have a range other than self. It has to not. So it has to be buffs, right? I cannot, off the top of my head, think of the spells that this would affect. But I do feel like there are probably some bangers. Cure Wounds, again, is the one that comes to mind because it's touch. I mean, you could use... No, you can't use, like, a shocking grasp or something. You do prestidigitation. That's fun. I don't know if that's what it's intended for. I just like prestidigitation. I'm sure there are plenty of others. Long Strider, that would work, right? That doesn't require components or concentration, I think. It doesn't consume components. I clearly need to play more wizards. I've not played a wizard, apart from a Bladesinger in a 2-shot, which was great fun. But I've not actually played a normal wizard. I've got one in an upcoming campaign, but when I say upcoming, I mean in a year and a half's time. My group we're sick. Anyway, level 10, you get Academic Composure. Taking damage can't cause you to lose concentration on spells of third level or lower. That's amazing. And if you fail on an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw while you're concentrating on a spell, you can choose to lose concentration on the spell instead to succeed. That's fun. And then at level 14, you get Nexus of Authority. While an agent is on the same plane of existence as you, you can communicate with them telepathically, and they are considered to be a linked object for the purpose of casting teleport to the location. That's cool. As a bonus action, you can see through the agent's eyes and hear what they hear until the start of your next turn, gaining the benefits of any special senses the agent has. While you're seeing through the eyes of an agent who is within 100 feet of you, you gain the following effects. Once per turn, when they fail on a d20 test, they can add your int mod to the roll. Cool. And you can cast spells as though you were in the agent spell space. That's super fun. The restriction from the spell type is gone, but there is now a restriction in distance. It balances wonderfully. I like that subclass a lot. I do wonder if this is too limited, the codified spellcraft thing, but that's purely because I do not have an encyclopedic knowledge of the specifics of every spell. Forgive me. Next is the Fundamental Sorcerer, which is Atroxian. I'm going with Atroxian. Atroxian law mandates all residents who can cast spells be documented by the Spellcaster Registry Service, a government organization meant to curtail the growth of the arcane. For some, this registration is a restriction upon their fundamental rights. For others, they serve other fundamentals. They can see the weave, the fabric of the multiverse, and manipulate it according to their own desire, to make and unmake anything. Fundamental Sorcerer is such a fun name for a class. Level 3, you get Growing Understanding. When one or more creatures succeed on a saving throw against your spell that uses a spell slot or one of your other sorcerer casts features, roll a d4. Those creatures subtract the result of the roll from the next saving throw against a spell you cast or one of your sorcerer features. That's cool. There's no use to that. It's just, here's a bonus if you get in bad luck, basically. You also get your fundamental spells. You get Color Spray, Command, Calm Emotions, Enlarge, Reduce. You get Counterspell and Slow, then Banishment and Polymorph, and then Arcane Hand and Telekinesis. It's a mixed spell list. It's so hard not to review things based on just damage, so I'm going to retract from that. Command is a banger, Enlarge, Reduce is great. I don't love Calm Emotions, Color Spray is fine. Counterspell is a bit meh. The 2014 version of Counterspell is more entertaining. Slow is a fantastic spell. Banishment and Polymorph are great. I can't remember what Arcane Hand does, but Telekinesis can be quite useful. So yeah, fairly solid spell list, just not all damage, you know. Look at this art, man. At level 6, you get Restructure Matter. As a magic action, you choose this is so many words. That's not a complaint. I just don't like reading, which is ridiculous because I choose to do this as my YouTube videos, but here we are. As a magic action, choose a creature or loose non-magical object you can see within 30 feet of you and expend a number of sorcery points equal to up to half your proficiency bonus, rounded down. You attempt to shapeshift that creature into a cloud of dispersed matter. A shapeshifted creature can't move or take actions, and other creatures can freely enter and occupy its space. It has immunity to all damage, as well as the grappled, restrained, and prone conditions. When the effect ends, the target reforms in its space or in the nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied. You cannot target that creature with this effect until you finish a long rest. Pick one of the following effects when you use this feature. Disperse. The target must make a con save against your spell saving DC. On a failed save, it takes 1d10 force damage for each sorcery point spent and shapeshifts until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. And Consolidate is if the target is a willing creature, it gains 1d10 temp health for each sorcery point spent and shapeshifts until the start of its next turn. That's fun. I like that. Level 14 is a multiplier. As an action, you can spend up to 5 sorcery points to create a perfect replica of yourself in an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet of you. The replica isn't intangible and doesn't occupy its space. It lasts for a number of rounds equal to the number of sorcery points you spent creating it. Clever. At the end of each of your turns, you may move the replica up to 30 feet and use Restructure Matter as if you were in the replica's space. No action required. Ooh, that's fun. While using Restructure Matter in this way, you must still use your own senses and you can only choose the Disperse option. This use of Restructure Matter does not cost you any sorcery points and it deals 1d10 damage. That's super funky. I like it. And then level 18 is Fundamental Being. When you use innate sorcery, you can alter it to infuse yourself with the essence of fundamental force, gaining the following benefits while using this use of innate sorcery is active. Once you use this feature to alter innate sorcery, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you spend 5 sorcery points. No action required to restore your use of it. You gain a fly hover speed of 60 feet, you get true sight to a range of 60 feet, and you can use Restructure Matter as a bonus action. When you do it, costs no sorcery points and deals 5d10 damage if you choose. Is this Dr. Manhattan themed? Maybe this is Dr. Manhattan themed. I like this a lot. That's a really fun sorcery subclass. Man, that's sick. And then finally, we have the Mage Hunter Fighter. Fighters are so good. Sorcerers are also so good. I think sorcerers are the most mechanically satisfying spellcasters to play, and fighters are probably the most mechanically satisfying martials to build because they get all the extra feats, which goes a really long way. All martials should get an extra feat. I think the rogue gets one at level 10, but I think honestly you could give them to barbarian and to monks as well. And I don't think that would be unbalanced, but that is for another time, dear friends. Anyway, the Bureau of Mage Enforcement trains experts in countering dangerous spellcasters. While they train with guns and swords like other warriors, their primary weapons are the gadgets they use to make magic obsolete. Let's see. Level 3, you get specialist gadgets. Schematics. You learn 2 additional schematics of your choice when you reach levels 7, 10, and 15. Each time you learn new schematics, you can also replace one you know with a different one. Preparing gadgets. When you finish a long rest, you can use Tinker's tools to prepare a number of gadgets from the schematics you know up to your proficiency bonus. A prepared gadget is a tiny item that weighs 1 pound. You can prepare multiple copies of the same gadget, but you can't have more gadgets prepared in total than your proficiency bonus. If you prepare more, you have to destroy one. Classic. Trained hands. Only you or a creature who has spent a minute instructing can use the gadgets you prepare with this feature. And anyone doing so, let me see a space there. Dadi, where's the space? So, must have a free hand available. I'm just shouting at Dadi. That's not fair. Each gadget you prepare can only be used once before needing to be recharged. Okay, that's cool. And when you finish a short rest, you can recharge any number of your prepared gadgets. Oh, you get to do a short rest. We love a short rest boost. Saving throws. If you need a saving throw, it's 8 plus PV plus int fighter. That's fun. There's too many charisma fighters, in my opinion. We've got any wisdom fighters? We need a wisdom fighter. Where's the wisdom fighters at? Anyway, this is very artificer coded, right? But we'll read through the rest of the features and then we'll go through the cool looking gadgets. Level 3, you also get proficiency in the Arcana skill. If you already have that, you get a different one. And you get Tinker's tools. If you already have it, you get a different one. Nice and simple. Level 7, you get Brace the Mind. You gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. If you already have it, you instead gain proficiency in intelligence or charisma saving throws. That's fun. Level 10, you get field adjustments. By spending 1 minute working with your Tinker's tools, you can recharge all of your currently prepared gadgets. As part of the same process, you can also swap one out. That's sick. You can only do it once per long rest. So you get it every short rest, and then also you can get an extra one. So it's warlocky and artificery. So that's cool. Level 15, explosive deployment. You can trigger a volatile reaction in a gadget, overloading it to produce a powerful explosion. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with overloading and throwing one of your prepared gadgets. Choose one prepared gadget and 1 point within 30 feet of you. Within a 20-foot radius centered on that point must succeed on a dex saving throw or take 5d8 force damage. Creature that succeeds only takes half. The gadget is broken, basically. The gadget you chose is no longer counts as prepared. Very official language. And level 18 is resourceful. Anytime you roll initiative, you can recharge up to 2 of your prepared gadgets. Cool. All right. So then we got some gadgets. There's a lot of these. I'm not going to go through all of them because my brain's tired. But we'll go through some. Crackle Ball. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with throwing a Crackle Ball, a small ball of bright copper loaded with powerful static charge. Choose a point on the ground within 30 feet of yourself. Creatures within a 10-foot radius centered at that point must make a dex save or take 1d8 lightning damage and be unable to take reactions until the start of the next turn. That's fun. Gnome Glass Goggles. As an action, you apply a drop of Quicksilver to the glass of these hefty goggles. For the next hour, a creature wearing these goggles can see a faint aura around any visible creature or object that bears any kind of magic. That's super fun. It's detect magic in goggle form. That's sick. Now let's go for different level ones, right? So we get 7 and 10. So let's go for Sustained Lead Wave. As a bonus action, you can activate this weighty horseshoe-shaped device, this thing, causing it to become the origin of a 20-foot emanation for 1 minute. A creature that starts its turn within the emanation or enters it for the first time must make a con save. On a failure, it loses concentration on any spells it's concentrating on and cannot cast spells until the start of his next turn. That's cool. You can also throw it using an attack. Sick. And then let's go for... Artwork's so good. Again, I assume that's the activated version of the horseshoe thing, right? I'd know if I read. No, it's a different version. All right, fine. Lodestone Bowler. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your actions with throwing this. Target a creature within 60 feet of yourself. They must make a dex save or have the restrained condition until it or another creature within 5 feet of it takes an action to remove the bolus. While restrained in this way, the target cannot teleport. The target succeeds automatically if its size is huge or larger. That's fun. Instead of you can't target X creatures, it just says that they succeed. So you can still target them if you want. but you probably shouldn't. Anyway, that's all the classes. That's also super fun. I like hard not to love the Inspector Gadget vibe on that one. If you know the references that I didn't get, which was the Mage Hunter and the Wizard, the Collegiate Wizard, please let me know. I'm sure I'm being more than a little bit dense in there. Overall, I think those subclasses are fantastic. I think the flavor is wonderful. I really want to play the Ranger, actually. That might be near the top of the list of Ranger subclasses I would want to play, if not the top at this point. I really like combat in D&D. I wish it was more in depth. I wish you could do ankle locks and high kicks, but that's mostly flavor. I wish there was just mechanical benefit to it. I did try building a subclass that had that built in, but good gravy, is it hard to translate into D&D terms. Anyway, if you like this, please like and subscribe to the channel. But also check out Mystic Arts if you haven't already, which would be preposterous if you found my channel and you've not already subscribed to Mystic Arts. But also have a look at their Patreon, see if you think it'd be worth it. They do the broadsheet thing, which is fantastic. It's basically a whole couple books they're putting out every month at this point. I think it's every month. And the subclasses are fantastic, as are the spells I reviewed last time I did a video on Dadi stuff and the gang. But that's it. I hope you're good. I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. I will see you Thursday, where we can go over exploring Eberron, and I will do some builds on exploring Eberron from there on out. I'm quite excited to do that. But yeah, that's it. Have a good time. Take care. Goodbye.